Welcome to the Women Who Change the World podcast, the place where everyday women world changers share their stories to inspire, challenge, and equip you to change your world.
Hi, this is Lori Miller. I'm coming to you today with excitement for our first ad, and here we are on Samantha's podcast. So thrilled. So, to tell you a little bit about ourselves, we're a tea boutique company, mother and daughter, Victoria and myself, Lori. We're a team My Loyal Tea Company, might as well say that here. We have premium, organic, loose leaf tea. We want to get the toxins out of your bodies. We're very active on Instagram and Facebook at My Loyal Tea Company, LOYALTEA Company, all spelled out. And our website is myloyalteacompany.com. So come join the fun.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Women Who Change the World. My name is Samantha Hatcher, and I am your host. Today, we are talking to Katie Horner and hearing about Handprint Legacy Live. If you've never heard of it before, it is the tool that every entrepreneur who is working for God needs. It's going to be a live event coming up in June, and you don't want to miss out. She's already talking to me about things that are going on. I'm like, okay, thank you for the kick in the pants. And she's smiling and laughing at me because she's like, who wants to come to an event to get a kick in the pants? I do. Why? Why do you want to come to an event to get a kick in the pants? The same reason you go to every motivational event, because they're going to get you going in the right direction. And that's exactly what Katie does. She gets you going in the right direction. Yes, we have interviewed Katie before when we were talking about business with God, but this is a whole other level. We're taking the doing business with God and moving it up to actually having the business. We gave you the foundation of where the business is coming from. Now we're going to talk about where it's going. How are you, Katie?
I'm great. How are you?
I am good. So, we talked about business with God, but let's talk about this different step. How did you get to this step of wanting to build people up with the little sign that I see behind your head, which is your message matters? Where did this all come from?
Well, it seems like it's the next right step after doing business with God. Doing business with God is really a foundational mindset piece for most people. They come to us overwhelmed. They come to us without direction or clarity. They come to us exasperated, trying to find their people. And in doing business with God, we get to take them back to the truth of who your God is as the owner of your business. And with that comes the confidence and the clarity to begin reaching out. But then they still need to know the how. How do I get to those people that need what I have to give? And the marketing for someone who's not had a business background is a really big key to growing your business, growing your impact for the kingdom. And so we get to take them from the foundational piece of business principles based on the word now into sort of the rubber meets the road piece of how do I get this out to the people to be able to change more lives. And so Handprint Legacy Live is all about that. It's helping you get your first or next online marketing funnel all mapped out during those 3 days so that you can reach the people that you were created to serve.
And you do. You end up with a funnel of exactly go to this step and do this step and do this step. And I love that you teach the product pyramid, because one of the things, and this, it's for me, it's about giving and giving and giving and giving and giving. And if it wasn't for Katie, I wouldn't be charging as a coach. She's like, Samantha, you need to charge, but I don't want to charge, but you need to charge. So she's pushing me to step out of that comfort zone, and having that product pyramid is what gave me a peace of mind. It's like, okay, I can still serve people for free, and I can have low hanging fruit that is the low priced items and still build a business, because my mind was like, oh, I want to do a ministry. I don't want to do a business. I want to do a ministry. I want to do a business. Can you speak into, I mean, I know what you've told me, but it's better to hear it from you about this mindset of I want to do everything for free because a Christian never charges, into switching it from just being in ministry to having a business?
Yeah, for sure. That was a big part of our growth as a business owner, and something we love walking people through now is that whether it's your idea or whether it's been superimposed upon you that what you have is not valuable, or that you can't charge for this because you do it in the name of Christ. There's lots of junk and noise that we have to work through to be able to get people to the point where they're willing to invest in their own change. And again, this is something that I tell my people, this is not as much about you as it is about helping your people. And you're going to be able to help them more if they are invested in getting help, right? Somebody who is given everything for free doesn't value it. But when they have to put some of their own blood, sweat, and tears and money into getting this change that they want to see, then they're more committed to showing up and doing the work. And so for their sakes, we need to be charging. And that doesn't mean that we don't have free products in our product suite, or our pyramid, as you called it. At Handprint Legacy, we call it the Handprint Legacy business model, right? But it's having a hierarchy of things so that you can serve those who can't afford to pay at a certain level, but that you also have things available for those that are more committed, that do want to go deeper or faster or further with you. And that way you're able to serve more people at different levels than just if you gave everything away free. Businesses have to provide for themselves, right? And so I struggled with this for years. I actually fired a coach over this same discussion because he insisted that I raise my prices. And I insisted that I wanted to be able to give coaching to everybody who was where I was when I started, because I remembered what it felt like to not be able to afford the coaching that I so desperately needed. And so I actually ended up firing one of my coaches at one point over this whole discussion, let's call it. But what I came to realize years later is that I can stay true to that desire to serve at those people who are where I was when I started. And I can also serve people at a higher level, at a deeper level, who have the capability and the desire to go deeper with me. And so then I was able to see the bigger picture of how we have free things at the bottom. And some of those people are going to want to go deeper with you. And some of the people at level 2 are going to want to go deeper with you. And so you can create differing programs or differing services at all these different levels that allow you to ultimately reach more people and help more people.
So does it really seem that people who get stuff for free don't really do the work compared to people who pay for it?
Experience, and in the experience of most of the colleagues that I speak with, that is generally true. Every now and then you'll have that unicorn come through who is a go-getter and desperately wants to change their situation, really can't afford it, but will do the work. But as a general rule, what we find is that people who have skin in the game will show up. When they pay attention, and you are able to serve them at a higher level because of their own engagement, their own commitment to making the change for themselves.
Well, if that's the case, then why give anything away for free?
Because there has to be some point of trust when you're establishing a relationship, right? It's sort of like you don't want to ask someone to marry you on the first date, right? And so in marketing, it's sort of like you're creating a relationship, right? You need to get to know each other first. They don't know if they trust you enough to let you into their lives to help them make this change if you're still on the first date. And so we take some time to date them in marketing. We take some time to get to know them, to share what we're about, what our big why is, to find out more about them and how we can serve them better, make sure that we're a match, right? And then we're able to invite them to go further with us into the paid products that we provide.
Yeah, I don't think I'd marry somebody on the first date either.
Most people wouldn't.
Though, funny story, the first day I met my husband, I sat down next to my cousin and I said, I think I just met the man I'm going to marry. Weird, but it's weird. And I didn't marry him.
But you also didn't go out and marry him the next week either, right?
No, I did not.
So some people will know that first gift that they get from you, they'll know like, that's the girl that can help me, right? But it still takes some time before they're ready to buy into that change for themselves.
is there a certain type of client that it's not really that you want to work with, but you know that this type of person is my person and they're going to be able to go on this journey with me?
Yes, I do. And I think every business owner should have that person in mind. Some people call this avatar work, or finding out who your right fit person or your right fit client is. And we're actually at Handprint Legacy Live, we're going to have an entire session all about getting to know your right fit person. Who are you called to serve? Because a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I help everybody. Who's the perfect person for your product? Oh, anybody that's breathing. No, 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 no. No, right? You were called to a specific person. You have gifts for a specific person. And whether that is a specific demographic, like whether it's people who make a certain amount of money or who don't make a certain amount of money, whether it's people with certain health problems, whether it's people with so many kids, with no kids, I can't have kids, whether it's people in a certain geographic location, like you were called to a specific people group.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to know who those people are. And so you also need to know who those people are not. Right. And so working through like, what are the characteristics of the perfect person to work with me, the perfect person that I can help get this transformation. This is what they are. This is who they are not. This is what their life looks like. This is what they worry about. This is where they hang out, like getting all of that information, getting super clear on who that person is great. And I talked to somebody once who's like, well, I serve single moms, right? I just serve single moms. And it's like, but I have married moms in my group and I have single dads in my group. She's like, I don't exclude them. Like they're welcome to come along and learn from the info I provide and whatever, but I know I'm called to single moms. Right. And so that was who she focused on in her marketing and her services. And then she let the Lord just sort of add in the other people who were also attracted to that message. The event of the year for Christian business owners is just around the corner. Handprint Legacy Live 2021 is virtual this year, which makes it super easy to attend from anywhere in the world, without makeup, long flights, or expensive hotel rooms. Thursday through Saturday, June 24 to 26, we'll spend 3 powerful days mapping out your first or next most important steps for your business. I'm Katie Horner. My husband and I have grown from full-time ministry in Mexico to full-time international business owners by understanding and solving the countless marketing challenges faced by Christian entrepreneurs. We created the Handprint Legacy Live event as a safe haven where small business owners, teachers, authors, and coaches strategize, implement, and grow their business. This event is highly interactive and tickets are limited. Grab yours today before we sell out, because 3 days of Bible-based fun and marketing instruction is going to leave you with your next marketing funnel all mapped out. Register now for the 2021 event at handprintlegacylive.com.
You talked about your message, and I'm always going to throw something out there like, okay, solve this problem. Why does my particular message matter when so many others are saying almost the exact same thing, and even to the point of stealing what you're saying and saying it themselves? So why do I matter?
Yeah, you are as unique as a flamingo in the wild. My book, Faith Like Flamingos, we talk about the fact that the flamingo, like this pink puff of feathers out in the midst of this blue and green landscape, is the last thing you'd expect to see when you round the corner in that river. And yet they're there, and God created them to be there, and they have a specific purpose in the whole ecosystem. And you also have a specific purpose in the kingdom ecosystem of this world. If you didn't, you would not still be here. I firmly believe that. If you're still here, there's a message somebody needs you to share with them. And if you don't, they're not going to get it, right? Other people could be talking about the same thing, but we have a world with 7.3 billion people in it. They are not going to reach everyone. And if they did, their message is not going to resonate because of their personality, or because of the way they speak, or because of the language barrier, or because of whatever. And so you need to give your message because somebody's waiting for you to give it. They're not going to be able to learn from so-and-so because learning styles don't match up, or the experiences that they have had don't resonate, but yours will. And if you don't give it, that person will not get the help that they need to be all they were created to be, to do what God is calling them to do. So you have to show up. This is what you were created for.
So you're saying I should be myself, but what if nobody shows up? What if I'm continuing to be myself, to be my flamingo, which my favorite animal at the zoo was always the flamingos. I'm being myself and nobody showing up.
Then you need to find community. Flamingo doesn't live by himself. He lives in a group. And even as unique as you are as a flamingo in the marketplace, you need community around you. You need people who can brainstorm with you, who can give you ideas of where to find your people, who can introduce you to their people so you can find your people, who can help you brainstorm with your marketing. That's one of the big benefits of our live events, is that we're not just teaching. You're also doing, but you're also connecting with the community there. Some of our best friends, some of our best business partners are people that we have met at live events. And so plugging into that community is going to give you what you need to be able to get out there, become more visible, and be able to reach more of your people. It's not that there's something wrong with you necessarily. It's that it may be something that's wrong with your atmosphere or your community. You've heard the saying, if a flower doesn't bloom, what do? You don't change the
soil.
flower. You
Change
change
the
the
soil.
soil, you change the atmosphere. And so if you're not blooming where you are, you may need a change of soil. You may need a change of location. And some of that can be found in community. And so find a community that can support you and can help you and can brainstorm with you, and that you can give back to as well, and plug in there. And that will help you to grow.
So with mentioning community, is that like if I don't have a spouse that supports me or he thinks it's like a crazy idea and why would somebody pay for what you're doing? Is a community a good solution? Not to replace your spouse, but to fill the gap that your spouse doesn't get.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because if you don't have support at home, if your spouse or your family, your friends locally don't understand the business that you're doing, you of all people need to plug into a group that does understand and can give you that support emotionally, and even in physical ways, sometimes in terms of helping you with the marketing, or sending an email for you, or making an introduction to someone, right? There's always things that are like that. And we tell people, like, if you don't have that support at home, you of all people need to find a group that you can plug into and be community. Community is one of our core values. It's in everything that we do in our business involves a piece of community somewhere, because it is such a powerful piece of growing a business and reaching the people God's called you to reach.
And I like how we end up, because I am part of your community, I like how we end up switching around and meet new people and connect in different ways. One example is all the members that are part of Business with God, if they complete the course, get to be on the podcast. And one of the people said, "Oh, here's somebody that I think you should interview." And that person had been on my list of people I wanted to interview. And so I got that connection. I boldly, scaredly sent out that email, and not even 12 hours later, she's like, "Yes, I want to be on your podcast." And my mind's like, oh my goodness, I'm connecting to people. And so I'm not alone. I'm not
Exactly.
alone in this crazy dream that God has placed on my heart. And I still think it's wonderful and crazy, and why me? But having a group of people who don't think you're crazy makes a huge, huge difference. I want to talk a little bit about next step, because I know we're talking about Handprint Legacy Live. And every time I've been part of it, I'm like, okay, come on, get to the good part, Katie. Get to the good part. Get to the good part. And for me, the good part is at the very end. It's like, come on, tell them what they can have. Because Handprint Legacy Live gives so much. Katie gives and gives and gives and gives. And it's so good. But when she starts talking about queens, when she starts talking about who you can be and that your message matters, and you have your group of friends that connect you. It's like the whole, looking back, I can look back and I can see the process. And it's not just that I can see the process, but you walk us through the process. Because you're not one of those people who's like, yep, I've succeeded, good luck with that. You are bringing us with you. And so when you talk about Queens, I'm like, please, 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 you don't know what you're missing. You don't know what you're missing. And I worked with you coaching, one-on-one coaching, when you first started doing it. And it was really, really good, but connection and having all those other people brainstorm ideas, so enriching and so good. So you did business with God. I started with one-on-one coaching, did the business with God, went to Handprint Legacy Live, and now as a queen, I see potential that I didn't see before. So what pushed you to do this mastermind that isn't dirt cheap, but forcing us to invest, which is good, and it's worth every penny that we pay for it? But what pushed you to feel like I am worth this amount as a coach?
Well, part of it was the investment that I made in myself along the way. Our business has been a journey, and you've been with us as long as most of them, to see it sort of evolve and grow. But I have had to invest in myself, and I have chosen to invest in places that had a community that would believe in me for the things that I couldn't yet see for myself. And that's what I wanted to create for my people. The Queen's Mastermind, I don't talk about it very much publicly because it's sort of like this, it's not secret either, but it's sort of like it's my little group that I hold close to my heart, right? And it's the ones that I do life with. It's the ones that I talk with in our weekly coaching calls every single week, and get to walk you through your growth as a business owner and as a person, and help you be the leader that God is calling you to be in this sphere of business that he's entrusted to you. And it's really something special. But the investment there again is getting the people who want the next step and who want to go farther faster, or who need the hand holding because they know they work slower than others, or the ones who need community because they don't have that support at home. It really is a next level thing, and it's become our closely guarded high ticket offer. We don't open it just anytime. We only open it at Handprint Legacy Live each year, and we don't just open it to anyone. You have to qualify for it, right? And so it becomes this highly selected group of people who are really serious about stepping into the next thing in their business for themselves, for the people they serve, and ultimately for the glory of God. And it really is a special thing for us to be able to offer. Handprint Legacy Live is 3 days of intense marketing education and helping you get that marketing funnel mapped out. And for those of you that are scared of that F word, funnel, don't be. It just means like the journey that you take your people on as they get introduced to you, and then decide to come into your store essentially and buy from you, right? And change that relationship from window shopper to customer. But we walk you through mapping that out. And yet there are some at that event who are like, I need more. Where do I get more of this? And so it is my, my responsibility, my duty then to have a next step for those people. And that is what we call the Queen's Mastermind, which is our 12-month high ticket offer of coaching in small groups.
When you're doing your selection process, I know that there is another part of this that you approach us as part of the group saying, is there somebody you think would be a good fit?
Mm-hmm.
Why are because this is your group, you're in control, but you're asking us And it's not about money. I know well enough. It's not about money. Why are you considering even what we're presenting as potential people?
Because I know that birds of a feather flock together. And I have been blessed to be able to curate a group of ladies that I adore in the Queen's Mastermind. And I'm so proud of them and their heart for impact and for taking the message God has given them to other people. And I know that the queens now have friends who would make awesome queens as well. And what better way to grow your community than with friends of the people who are currently in your community? And I also think there's a real big benefit of doing something with someone that you have history with, right? When if you sign up for a 30-day weight loss challenge or a 30-day, savings challenge or whatever it is, it's one thing to do it by yourself and commit and like get halfway through it and fizzle out. It's another thing if your best friend from second grade signs up for it with you and you're daily texting each other to say, hey, are you doing it today? Hey, did you do that today? You know what I mean? And it builds community. And so I think it's super valuable to call on those that are in that inner circle to say, hey, who do you think would be a good fit for this? Who do you know that needs this and would be a good contribution to the community that we've built here? And really just valuing that and wanting to grow it with more people like the ones I have.
So you do see the queens as contributing to each other and not just you doing the coaching?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think that's part of the reason it is a small group coaching, is that I recognize that I can only teach so much, but the perspectives and the experiences that come from other women who are just as committed as you and have life experiences and trainings and connections in all different places, like that is super valuable as well. And you wouldn't get that if you were just paying for one-on-one coaching.
Well, I mean, we are a group of women. How do you keep the competitiveness from happening?
I guard the atmosphere very closely. Everyone who comes in, if they don't already know their certain personality testings, have to go through a personality test as part of our onboarding process. And that helps me just sort of with a teacher and a mother's mindset to be able to sort of anticipate any potential conflicts that might arise from personality clashes or things like that. I also, from the get-go, from the beginning, I let them know this is not a place of competition. We are not one-upping each other. This is about you being better than you were yesterday, and we are all here to support you in that. And so even with people coming into Queens that may be in this similar niches or working for, in competing niches or whatever the world might put it, we make it very clear that this is a space of learning and growth, and you will get out as much as you put in. And so protecting that and heading off some of those conflicts before they begin, and just making sure that people know this is a place of speaking life, and we will not tolerate negativity or criticism or things like that. And then as necessary, having some behind the scene conversations if things get tense, as they will, because we're all human, right? But just sort of being the shepherd or being the mother in the situation and heading those things off and helping everyone to get along and be helpful.
We've had some sessions where it's just like everybody's having a rough week and we're just kind of like blah. And it was,
and that's where that kick in the pants comes in. I get to play mom there too.
But it was good to say, I've had a bad week and this is why, and to be free to have that space. So now that
we welcome the queens to share that, but we're also going to be the first ones to bring you back to truth and say, yes, you've had a bad week, and God is not surprised, and God is still in control, and your GPS is not asking where you've been, it's asking where you go next.
Mm-hmm. Hey everyone, I know that we are just getting started into this episode, but I had to cut the podcast episode in half to make 2 episodes because it was just too good to edit anything out. Be on the lookout because part 2, I promise, is worth the wait.
Hi, this is Lori Miller. I'm coming to you today with excitement for our first ad, and here we are on Samantha's podcast. So thrilled. So to tell you a little bit about ourselves, we're a tea boutique company, mother and daughter, Victoria and myself, Lori. We're a team My Loyal Tea Company. Might as well say that here. We have premium, organic, loose leaf tea. We want to get the toxins out of your bodies. We're very active on Instagram and Facebook at My Loyal Tea Company, LOYALTEA Company, all spelled out. And our website is myloyalteacompany.com. So come join the fun.